Yeah, so they just released. You know what? Let me start from the beginning. Uh, I try to do this without getting angry. So, as some of you may know, in Canada, the supplier of Fantasy Flight games products used to be for a very long time a company called Lion Rampant Imports. They had the exclusive deal for them for quite a while. Some might you not know or do know, they were bought off. Fantasy Flight, sorry, was bought off by Asmodee not too long ago, I suppose. And Lyon Rampant is losing the exclusivity, and it will go to Asmodee because they essentially own Fantasy Flight now, which makes sense. You know, if you buy a company, you want to have exclusive rights to the products. You know, I can't blame them for wanting to do that. However, what I find fairly interesting is they just released recently the new prices that they will be selling the products at from Asmodee, and it's just ridiculous because everything is like easily 10% more expensive on our side. Flat out about 10% more expensive to bring in any Fantasy Flight product. Now, I don't know for how long these prices are going to be in effect, but this just looks, at least from a retailer's point of view, as just a cash grab. You're essentially just making 10% more on everything else because your cost from selling to Lyon Rampant as Fantasy Flight has not changed to selling to Asmodee. I mean, they own the company, but that's regardless. You're paying, at the very least, the same amount of money. Like, is this like a weird way of trying to make sure that whatever money you spent into Fantasy Flight now is being covered by this 10% increase? I mean, it's fairly simple. I mean, as you know, some of the games Fantasy Flight sells are fairly high price. Mansions of Madness, Star Wars Armada. The X-Wing stuff is not too bad. The base game is not too expensive, but Descent is fairly expensive as well. I mean, most of the base games are 40, 50, and some of them 100. So 10%, as you can see, means the consumer at the end of the day is going to pay the price. If I, as a company, have to pay 10% more, I will have no choice but to charge 10% more. And we're not just going to be like, oh, well, no, we're going to make a lot less money to carry a product. Maybe some people would, but as a general basis, most people would raise the price 10%. But what I don't understand is why this, as a business point of view, like this perspective is you are just essentially increasing the price, putting the money in your pocket, and that's it. That's the end of the story. Like there is nothing else. Whatever Fantasy Flight was selling to the other company, you're paying the same price. Hell, maybe even better. You're maybe even getting a better price since you own the company. Now, obviously, people will say, "Oh, they wouldn't do that. You know, it would be conflict of interest. They own the company. They can do whatever they want. They can tell Fantasy Flight, well, you're going to sell it to us at this price. This is your cost. Well, we want to pay this price because that's how it works. You can do that. It's not impossible. It's not a conspiracy or anything weird. It's just you can do that. If you own the company, you can get all together and sit down and have a contract written up saying these are the prices and these are the terms of this contract. We'll be paying whatever percentage, or if there's, I'm assuming it is a percentage. It would be the easiest way to do it for Fantasy Flight, which has over 700 SKUs, I believe. So, but if we take the assumption that they're paying the same price that Lyon Rampant was paying, which there should be no, it should increase. There's no reason why the price should increase. As far as we know, I mean, you're still printing the same product. You're not magically printing a different product. It is still the same thing. You're still selling the same products. Why is the price suddenly 10% more expensive? Well, simply because they want to make more money. It's fairly simple. But at the end of the day, it's the consumer who pays. The consumer is going to be like, oh, suddenly in a few months, like, oh, why is everything a little bit more expensive? They're not going to know how much. They're not going to know exactly the amount. But they're going to start feeling, I feel like I'm paying a little bit more. And that's, then when people start asking questions, you're going to tell them, well, the distributor charges more. Why? Because they're greedy. Now, obviously, Asmodee is not. It's not a company it's not like in video games when you talk about like Activision, Sony, and people go, oh, I hate that company. These are in the board game business and the card game business. I mean, Magic gets that kind of, like Wizards of the Coast gets that kind of reputation. Or like, oh, they're the devil, or Hasbro is, but not in the board game business. Nobody like goes like, oh, I hate this company. They're so evil. They're like corporate drones. Or no, this doesn't happen at this level. The consumer will talk about the manufacturers often and say like, oh, Fantasy Flight is a great company, or Cryptozoic, or Yellow, whatever. And they won't really talk about them. I mean, we play board games with a bunch of people fairly often, and you don't talk about the manufacturers. It's just very rare that it comes up as saying, oh, these people are bad or these people are good. It's just not brought up. There isn't that vilification of the creators of the product. So they're safe in knowing that the retailers are going to be the ones who are going to take any brunt. Sorry, cat. Are going to take any brunt of any increase in price. Like us as retailers, online retailers, the stores, we're the ones who are going to carry that brunt. It's going to be more expensive to carry any product from Fantasy Flight. So we're the ones who lose, and the consumer loses as well because we have to sell the product more expensive. And I just don't see the point of doing that. If it was a couple points more, like a 1 or 2% increase, okay, you have a company who's just doing distribution and they don't have any of these products, and suddenly you're bringing 700 SKU. It's a lot of work. I fully understand it's a lot of work. It's an infrastructure you have to put in place. I get it. But you already have an infrastructure. You're supposed to be ready for this. You know it's coming. But somehow, whatever this is going to cause them, they're pretty much putting the brunt on us and the consumer. Saying, well, too bad. Suck it up. And I just feel that's wrong to increase the prices that drastically. Like 10% is a huge number. I mean, it's not like we're selling Magic cards here. Even then, some Magic cards are fairly expensive. But the point is, we're not selling $1, $2 items. We're selling $40, $60, $100 products. That 10%, oh, it's an extra $5, an extra $10, and then that exponentially like raises the price that you sell to the consumer. Just because I paid $10 does not mean the product is going to sell only $10 more. See, that's the problem. People assume, oh, well, you're paying $10 more, you're going to sell $10 more. No, it multiplicates. It's like if the product is now costing me $100 and I was selling $140, I'm not necessarily going to only sell $150. It might be $175 because you have to take into consideration, well, it's costing me more to hold it. It's taking space on the shelf. It's a whole business thing. I don't want to get into that too much, but there's a cost to carry inventory. If you carry an item that doesn't sell every month, like say we carry Mansions of Madness and it sells like all the time, but the issue is that's not true to everybody. It all depends. We are online. Some stores are not. Some stores don't have an online presence, which, guys, if you don't have an online presence, what are you waiting for? Get an online presence. It doesn't matter if it's just a crappy little page. Get online. But video for later. You can't assume, oh, well, you carry a $100 product. Yeah, there's a cost for me to carry that product from month to month. If it doesn't sell, even if it's a hot product and I'm carrying 30 copies of it, there's a cost. Like, it takes inventory. You have to make sure not to damage it. That, like, things get damaged. You can see people like all the time selling dings and dents. Well, why? Well, the product got damaged while being stored or in transit or delivered to you, and it doesn't matter. There's all million kinds of reasons, but it's just how it is. There's costs to carrying inventory. There's costs associated with making sure that inventory is accounted for. There's costs with the space it takes on your shelves or in your inventory and your actual warehouse. A lot of people forget that. A lot of people don't take that into account. It's not like I'll give you an example like Magic cards. Magic cards don't take a lot of space unless you have like $100,000 worth of Magic cards, and even then, that doesn't necessarily can take a lot of space depending on what it is you have. If you have a bunch of boxes of Ravnica and here's a Saga and things like that, well, $100,000 disappears really fast. If it's just all single cards, I mean, if they're all cheap-ass cards, it can take a decent amount of space, but it's still, you know, it still doesn't take that much space. When you talk about board games, it's a whole lot. You know, you have a box like this. It's one thing worth $100, and it takes space. You don't want to damage it. You want to be careful with it. And I'm ranting and raving about this way too much and rambling. But at the end of the day, it's just cost increases like that are fairly drastic when it's 10%. You know, 1% here, 2% here. The exchange rate has not been good for us here in Canada for the last little while. I understand. But honestly, this is just a cash grab. This is just them saying we want to make more money. And they have the exclusivity. And they own the company that makes the game. And it makes them look bad, but nobody's going to notice. Nobody's going to notice. Nobody except the actual retailers are going to say anything about this. And the consumer is oblivious because we're not talking about companies like Activision or Sony, these large companies that people know and can point a finger and say, you did a bad. So that's it. It just sucks. I think it's a horrible move on their part, and I wish that they'd get more negative PR for doing such a move. And that's it. That's just me signing off after complaining about a company a lot of people don't really know about.